Hey now, Deadheads, it's DR.KOBA. We're coming to you from a new space, same house, just a different space. So, I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but what we're doing here, though, is we're continuing our continuing series of Enjoying the Ride from the Grateful Dead's 60th anniversary 2025 box set. And we've come to 1985. A very interesting year, very strange, very odd sound. They don't sound like this the year before, nor probably even a year after. It's kind of just specifically 1985 where they have this very clear, clean, bass forward sound where everything sounds very delineated. If you're a Deadhead and you know 1985, you know what the sound sounds like. It's very odd because they don't sound like that in 1987 or 1984. There's a lot of delay on the vocals. There's a lot of modulation happening, a lot of effects that probably aren't being triggered by Bobby or Jerry or Phil or Mickey, but it seems like Dan Healy is triggering effects like in the mix on the vocals, and you see that here. So, you know, we're in Oakland, California. We're at the Henry J. Kaiser Convention Center, as it says. 11:21:85 is the full show, and then we have the second set bit from 11:22:85. So here's the back of that, if anybody wants to see that. What we have here, though, it says that the Dead played at this place starting in August 1979, and then completed 5-night runs at this place at the end of each year in 79, 80, 81, and 82. And then they returned 34 more times between February 85 and February 89. So this was a home away from home. We have also the 1985 thing where the set list is different, which is cool. And on 11/21, we open up with a weird Big Boy Pete. Like, I guess this is one of those skiffle type songs that they knew from their youth, and they brought it back out. I think this is like one of their acoustic deals. Maybe someone could kind of help me with that. I think it's one of Bobby's like acoustic songs that they would play for acoustic sets. Kind of just takes them back to the 50s and 60s. It's a real old song. But what you hear is the vocals start out without delay, and then suddenly somebody pushes a button, and there's a bunch of delay on Jerry and Bob's vocals, and it continues on through the rest of the set with varying degrees, which is an interesting effect if you're able to get it to come off right with the tempo of the music, and they do for the most part once they get kind of settled in. Dire Wolf comes up next, bops along. It's great. It's got the 1985 sound in full effect. We get Little Red Rooster next, little blues playing. It's good. It's psych. There's a lot of psych energy, but it's kind of smoldering. It's interesting. We have up-tempo Brown Eyed Women, pretty fast tempo. Jerry really pressing some percussive sounds out of his guitar. Everyone's just firing on all cylinders. It's beautiful stuff. Jerry his voice is good on this one. Is that weird froggy high pitched thing happening, but we go straight into Me and My Uncle Mexicali. It's all good stuff. The psych energy is there. Ramble on Rose was really good. I liked it. Sometimes it's hard to get into those if the underlying groove isn't been preserved, and it kind of boils and boils until it gets to bah, 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 like it has to have a good crescendo, and there has to be a good peak to it, and this one does. This one has a good peak. I really liked the Looks Like Rain on this one. It is very beautiful and very purposefully done, and Jerry has these beautiful little lines that he's kind of just wrapping around the vocals, and Bobby does have his screechy high-pitched thing, but it's like a pleading thing. It's a good performance. It's just a good performance of music, and the song takes on many flavors and characters, and it's a good band performance. Like Phil and Brent have this cool little synth melding there, Phil clearly is on his 6-string bass because there's a lot of high bass notes and low, and so he's very prevalent. And the the ending bit of Looks Like Rain, where there's, after everything has happened, and generally there's that melody, that happens, and it gets built, and there's sort of a floating effect that happens, and then we slam into Might As Well, which is cool. They should have done that a lot more. So ends the set rocking out. We still have the beginning of set 2 as the opener, because this is not very long. Probably another hallmark of 1985 Grateful Dead, but we have Shakedown Street, which is really cool, really funky. The reverb and delay on the vocals, and Jerry on the Mootron, and everyone funking out. It's just psych as hell, and it goes into a cool Crazy Fingers, which also has the otherworldliness of Crazy Fingers happening, which is great. It ends the set, it ends the disc, that is to say. We start the next disc with the prerequisite playing in the band, which gets into some interesting spaces, and kind of the track listing gets strange here, because it seems like they know that they want to do out of the jam, and the jam bit is psych. It's good, but it doesn't have the fully fleshed out kind of we're gonna go fully into just playing the band, just jamming. It's focused into something that they want to do. Well, at least Jerry knows what he wants to do, and he's trying to figure out a way to get into the song that he wants to sing, which is She Belongs to Me, which is a beautiful Bob Dylan tune that, if you dig up one of my favorites, my personal favorite, Dick's Picks, number 21, from 11/11/1/85, about 20 days before this. That one is so good and so under the radar and so representative. But this one would have been just as good as the Dave's Picks if they would have put these together, or Dick's Picks. That one is just so good, and it has a lot of the same flavors and qualities of what's happening here. This recording is just so present. It could have been recorded yesterday. It's so live sound. It's very odd, very clean. But there's this breakdown where Jerry's he tries to do a riff, and he's in the breakdown of the playing in the band jam. He's trying to figure out how to get into the next key change from the A minor version of the A minor everything of playing in the band to where they sit as a jam, and trying to get it into where She Belongs to Me. And he does some sort of weird lead in that he has to just think up on the spot, which is cool. That's what's happening, is that he is just thinking it up on the spot, and the band has to also then think up something on the spot, which is, it's the magic of the Grateful Dead. You'd never hear any band doing that for the most part. I have to think up of something, and then the thing that I've thought up has nothing to do with the song that we're going to sing. It's just a modality to get to another place. And so he sings the song that She Belongs to Me, which it's good. It's not as good as that 11/1/85 version but it's good. And then at the end of that, there's yet another, we have to go into drums now, and they're well, we're out of our element here, out of our normal mode of doing things, where if it's playing into drums or playing terrapin into we know how to get from A to B. Here, A to B is weird to them, and it shows, because they don't know where to do, and they just sort of Jerry starts to play the playing in the band theme again. They sort of nod, and the band's kind of there, and they're kind of yes, and so it's just pure improvisation, pure just thinking on their feet. And it goes into a very very tribal, very odes and weird Egyptian instruments and drums, very tribal drums, which is cool. It lasts for a good period of time too, if I remember correctly. It's 10 minutes of drums, and then they go straight into the other one when Jerry comes back in with the Mutron sound, and they rock out a psych version of the other one for another 10 minutes, which has some great peaks and valleys, you know, and it leads us into Wharf Rat, which isn't as good as that 87 version that we were just talking about. It doesn't have the pathos. It's good. It's a good version. It's just not as, it doesn't have the stew, the psych stew happening. But what's cool is at the end, they do kind of like a fish thing where out of the mix of sound and just the ether of that's created by Wharf Rat at the end, everything's just free and floating. They pull in like you're throwing a fishing line out, and finally they hook it back, and they pull in the end of playing in the band, and it comes by like a slice of music on a windshield wiper, and it just comes by, and then it's gone, and they slam into "Give Me Some Good Lovin'," you know. Of course, it's good lovin', give me some lovin'. It's sung by Brent and Phil. It's cool, you know. They're doing their thing. It's cool that they have that spot, and that leads into something they should have done too, a really powerful version of "In the Midnight Hour." So here we have them going back to their roots of like 50s and 60s rock, and just kind of reliving their youth and having fun, which again, like I was saying in the 87 video, could be the hackest shit in the world if you were a lesser band, but in the hands of master musicians like the Grateful Dead, it's not so bad. And so, and just to put a cap on that point, the encore is a song called "Walking the Dog," which is yet another, like, they probably did this song 7 times, who knows, but like it's just a weird pull out, like stuff that only bust outs that only happened in 1985 for the most part. So you have a good companion to the Dick's Picks Volume 21, which I think is on top for me personally. That one holds a special place in my heart. That one is so good and so pure, it ought to be illegal. But earlier last year, 2024, Dave's Picks, volume something or other, 50, 49, somewhere in there, from Berkeley, from April of this year in 85. It has a lot of these same qualities and same sounds. It just doesn't have as much modulation on the vocals and delay. So clearly they had a thought and a plan, and that this was something that they wanted to have as a sound. So just be prepared for that. If you're going into 85, there's bizarre stuff going on. The set lists are bizarre, the sound is bizarre, but it's also clear and clean, and Jerry has some of the best sounding guitar playing and stuff. Like, it's just awesome. Disc 40, so this is 40, 41, 42 of the set, and the third disc here is 11, 22, 85 the next night. The second set, we open with Touch of Grey, which still hasn't gelled into its In the Dark version, but it is much clearer, cleaner, and focused, and is as close as possible to the In the Dark version that you could get. Good up-tempo version. We go into Estimated Eyes from that point, and thankfully they put this on here because there wasn't a lot of meat to the other show when it comes to jamming, psych jamming, and we get this awesome Estimated. We have a Fast Eyes. I thought the Eyes of the World was good. It was up-tempo, and Jerry has some good peaks and valleys to his playing, and everyone has they do the up-tempo-ness of Eyes, and it's there's some good playing there by both Bobby, Phil, and Jerry, and Mickey and Bob, but they all contribute little bits that make it good. It's like solid. Are you gonna say that that's the greatest thing ever? Like, probably not, but here it's perfect, and it leads into yet another like tribal, but also extraordinarily psychedelic drums in space. The space essentially is the midpoint here of nothingness and freedom, and they have their weird sounds happening, the effects, and there's a lot of flanging and left-right things happening, and some swirling sounds. which sets a stage, a perfect stage for what they want to do, which is Morning Dew. And even the first chords of Morning Dew have the weird flange on it, which is makes the story of Morning Dew feel more impactful and have a reason. Um, it's a great version of Morning Dew. I don't think the peak really gets there with Jerry on the solo at the top, where he, you know, I guess it doesn't matter anyway. Like, I don't think he quite gets what he wants out of that, but they go into a great Throwing Stones from there too, and the Throwing Stones Love Light coupling at the end here is awesome, upbeat. Everyone's doing well. No one is fatigued, no one's drugged out, and just they're having fun. This is very high energy, good Grateful Dead, but it's also strange sounding. It is bouncy bubblegum. It's bizarre. We get an ending of Broke Down Palace, which is cool. Jerry does a distorted guitar solo that you don't expect. Doesn't sound like they were planning to play Broke Down Palace that night, but being the guys that they are, they turn on a dime and remember, and they do a very effective performance. Brent has some nice B3 sounds there too. The Throwing Stones Love Light's great. You know, that I would have preferred to hear that a lot more than Throwing Stones Not Fade Away, even though that, like I said in the 87 show, like that has a purpose and a meaning and a function. It tells a story. Here it's about rock energy, and there's a lot of it. So my take on this is, if I want to go to 85, this is in the conversation. It's, you know, it's going to get reached for probably. The Playing in the Band She Belongs to Me, other one, good stuff. You know, the first set's also good. Like, that Looks Like Rain into Mine as Well. It's a really effective performance, and that's really kind of what I would say about all of this stuff. Is like, yes, we would need more 85 because this stuff is all top shelf. So like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, you know, engage if you like. I'm going to keep doing this. We've gone to 1972, and you couldn't get a completely more different sound and band if you tried from 1985 to 1972 when it comes to these guys. So it's been interesting about halfway through that show. So DR.KOBA signing out.